Hello and welcome to a special edition of The World Today. I'm Gaurav Sawant. On Friday, after 2 decades of raising the alarm almost non-stop and urging world leaders to act, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu finally decided to go it alone and strike Iran. He authorized the Israeli assault on Iran, a barrage of rocket strikes and missile strikes on Iran before dawn on Friday, targeting not just their nuclear sites, but also their ballistic missile factories, their military leadership, their nuclear leadership. Nuclear facilities were hit hard. Israeli strikes killed at least 20 top military commanders in Iran, including the Revolutionary Guard Corps Chief General Hossein Salami and the Armed Forces Chief General Mohammad Bagheri. Iran at one time had ridiculed Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as the boy who's cried wolf too often and warned the world about Tehran's nuclear program. But this time, he actually went ahead and tried to shut it down. Friday was time for Benjamin Netanyahu to finally look Iran straight in the eye and dared them to blink. Of course, Iran has pledged it will strike back. But the manner in which Israel struck Iran, the number of sites, the complete air superiority or air supremacy that Israel enjoyed, the fact that its 200 fighter jets were bombing Iran and they were refueling mid-air went on to show that there was nothing that either Iran or Iran-backed Houthi rebels had that could stop or stall the Israeli airstrikes.
Operation Rising Lion, Israel's all-out military offensive against Iran. A preemptive strike that has sent ripples across the globe. Over 100 strategic locations across Iran reduced to rubble in just a matter of minutes. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu has claimed that the IDF has destroyed Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure in order to neutralize its nuclear threat. At least 78 people have been killed, while 329 have been injured. Confirmed to have died in the strike are Chief of Staff of the Iranian Armed Forces, Major General Mohammad Bagheri, Commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, Major General Hossein Salami, and Deputy Commander of Iranian Armed Forces, Major General Gholam Ali Rashid. Senior nuclear scientists Mehdi Tehranshi and Feridun Abbasi were also killed in the strikes.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They've backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons.
A wounded Iran has warned of a belligerent response. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has reminded Israel that it must prepare for a bitter, painful fate. While Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian has warned Israel that its response will make Israel regret its foolish act.
Last night we witnessed the savage aggression of the criminal Zionist regime against Tehran and other cities in our country. An attack that led to the martyrdom of a number of children and women, innocent civilians, military commanders and nuclear scientists. This outrageous act, which blatantly violated all international obligations, once again confirmed the criminal nature of the illegitimate Zionist regime. Of course, the Iranian nation and its officials will not remain silent in the face of this crime. The Islamic Republic of Iran's legitimate and powerful response will make the enemy regret its foolish actions.
With the world wary of a nuclear flashpoint, the International Atomic Body confirmed that there has been no elevated radiation levels at the Natanz facility after the heart of Iran's nuclear facility was struck by Israel. But the dominoes are falling in light of Israel's aggression. Iran has now pulled out of nuclear talks with America and cancelled the 6th round of talks that were scheduled for 15th June. But with the tensions in the Middle East at an all-time high, an uneasy world can only hope for a de-escalation at the earliest. Bureau Report, India Today.
The world is united in asking both Israel and Iran to exercise restraint and de-escalate. The United Nations has asked both countries to abide by international laws and the UN Charter. Germany in particular has asked Israel to reconsider its position and reminded Iran it's never too late to step back. American President Donald Trump, in his Truth Social post, said he had given Iran a 60-day ultimatum on nuclear deal before Israel's airstrikes and missile strikes, and that a deal should have been done within this time frame. He said it's not too late. Iran has a second chance. Either do it now or prepare for another strike. That second wave, which he threatened, would be even worse than this strike.
Israel strikes Iran and the news dominates headlines across the world. And the world is united in its attempt to de-escalate the tension as Israel announced that it's ready for all-out war. Russia condemned the escalating tensions between Iran and Israel. China is paying close attention to the Israeli strikes on Iran and called all concerned in the region to act in ways conducive to peace and stability. The sudden rise in temperature of the regional situation is not in the interest of any party. China calls on all parties concerned to do more things that promote regional peace and stability and avoid further escalation of the tense situation. China is willing to play a constructive role in easing the situation. The EU called for restraint from all parties in the Middle East. Though France called for restraint, it also affirmed Israel's right to defend itself against all attacks. Paris had repeatedly expressed its concerns over Iran's nuclear program. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that Israel's strikes on Iran are concerning and called on all parties to step back and reduce tensions urgently. Posting comments on his X account, Starmer said, "Stability must be the priority." NATO allies at present depend heavily on the US as Israel is its close ally and need America to work to de-escalate the situation in the Middle East.
Well, it is obviously a rapidly evolving situation. This was a unilateral action by Israel. So I think it is crucial for many allies, including the United States, to work as we speak to de-escalate. I know they're doing that. And I think that is now the first order of the day.
The American president, while posting on Truth Social, said that he had warned Iran multiple times. He posted, and I quote, "I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world, by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come, and they know how to use it." Certain Iranian hardliners spoke bravely, but they did not know what was about to happen. They are all dead now, and it will only get worse. Israel said it had attacked nuclear facilities, ballistic missile factories, and military commanders in the operation to prevent Tehran from building an atomic bomb. Iran, in response, like always said, its nuclear program is only for peaceful purposes.
What the UN Charter says is it goes in the sense of the peaceful resolution of conflicts, not for violence, not for attacks. We need military de-escalation. That is what is more important at the moment.
The biggest concern in this escalation of tensions is the possibility of nuclear radiation, as Iranian nuclear facilities have been hit.
At present, the competent Iranian authorities have confirmed that the Natanz enrichment site has been impacted and that there are no elevated radiation levels. They have also reported that at present the Esfahan and Fordow sites have not been impacted. This development is deeply concerning. I have repeatedly stated that nuclear facilities must never be attacked, regardless of the context or circumstances, as it could harm both people and the environment.
Operation Rising Lion of Israel has dug a potential minefield to blow up the entire region and engulf the whole world. Bureau Report, India Today.
Iran has summoned representatives of the United States to warn of repercussions of this Israeli aggression as it prepares to give an answer to Israel. Now, people in Iran are out on the streets. They're asking the regime to retaliate and retaliate hard. Iran, Iraq, and Jordan, they've closed their airspace. Now, this has led to detours and cancellation of many flights over this region. Now, Tel Aviv's Ben Gurion Airport, that's been shut down for some time. It's likely to remain shut for the next several days. Israel's air defense units are on a state of highest alert. Of course, Iran did send about 100 drones, but all those drones were intercepted. But there is apprehension that Iran could try and launch ballistic missiles. Of course, Israel has neutralized majority of these missile launch sites and production facilities. In fact, in one instance, Israel targeted those missile strikes from within Iran. Fuel prices, incidentally, have shot up in Europe in early trade on Friday morning. Israel, of course, is bracing for an all-out war. Hospitals are now being moved underground to the parking lots where people queued up also to buy grocery and stock up for at least a week, if not a fortnight.
Protesters rallied in Tehran on Friday, calling for retaliation against Israeli strikes. Iran has promised to make Israel regret.
We want a strong revenge, a crushing revenge against those responsible, against the people who are truly involved in this matter. God willing, I want a definite and decisive response to be given to the root of this issue.
Airlines steered clear of much of the Middle East on Friday after Israeli attacks on Iranian sites forced carriers to cancel or divert thousands of flights. Flight radar data showed airspace over Iran, Iraq and Jordan was empty, with flights directed towards Saudi Arabia and Egypt instead. About 1,800 flights to and from Europe had been affected so far on Friday, including approximately 650 cancelled flights. With Russian and Ukrainian airspace closed due to war, the Middle East region has become an even more important route for international flights between Europe and Asia. European and wholesale oil prices rose in early Friday trading. A surge in oil prices after the attack also stirred concerns about jet fuel prices. Israel is shutting its embassies around the world and has urged citizens to stay alert and not display Jewish or Israeli symbols in public places. Israeli media reported Prime Minister Netanyahu has been taken to an unknown location, possibly Greece. Israel is preparing for retaliation from Iran. Jerusalem's Al-Aqsa compound was empty for Friday prayers. Israeli hospitals relocated some wards to their underground parking areas.
At the hospital, we have opened the emergency complex, which includes 350 beds in a fully fortified and underground area. Over the course of the night, we relocated the intensive care unit, surgical wards and internal medicine departments. We also have a fully protected emergency rooms, and we are prepared for any scenario and any event.
As Israel braces for uncertain days ahead, long queues formed at supermarkets to stock up on groceries and supplies. In Tel Aviv, the country's financial heart, businesses remained shut after the overnight air assault on Iran.
We're afraid of what's coming. It's more like worrying about what's the end game. It's going to be perpetual on both sides. I think that our army forces and whoever's involved in this operation is doing a great job and trying to do a great job. You know, there's bad things happening on both sides, but we have the moral high ground. I feel on this end. If a country's deliberately trying to annihilate our country, then we have to strike first. This is what I feel.
Daggers are drawn and both sides are now ready to fight it out. Israel's Operation Rising Lion has opened up a festering wound in the Middle East that is bound to burst any moment with deadly consequences, not only for Israel and Iran, but for the entire region. Bureau Report, India Today.
Joining me on this special broadcast is Israel's ambassador to India, Ambassador Reuven Azar. Ambassador, welcome on India Today. What was the need to mount this Operation Rising Lion right now, sir? What was the specific threat, the specific intelligence input that Israel has to justify being claimed that this was an existential threat to Israel?
Thank you, Gaurav, for this interview. First of all, I would like to extend to you, to the entire Indian nation, our condolences for the terrible plane crash yesterday that claimed so many lives. Our hearts go out to the victims, to the families, and we wish speedy recovery to the injured. What Israel did is to act upon imminent intelligence about a clandestine group that was assembling a nuclear weapon. Now, as you know, Gaurav, we have stated time and again that we will not allow Iran to create a nuclear weapon, because we are not going to agree that a country that has sworn to destroy us will actually acquire the means to do it. We have already survived one Holocaust only 80 years ago. We have no intention of having another Holocaust now. We said then never again, and never again is now. So we had to take action, and that's what we did.
Ambassador, explain the targets in terms of the military targets, the nuclear targets, the leadership in Iran. For example, General Hossein Salami, the commander-in-chief of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps. Why did Israel take him out? Or General Bagheri, the chief of staff. Are you disrupting the chain of command? Reports indicate that former Iranian National Security Advisor Ali Shamkhani has also been killed.
Gaurav, these are the criminals that were in charge of the plan of extermination of our state. They are the ones that assembled all the 3 tracks of extermination that we're pursuing: the nuclear weapons program, the missile ballistic program, and the ring of fire that we're creating with proxies around us. These are the people in charge. These are the people that were relentlessly pursuing our destruction, and we're not listening to the calls of the international community that has been actually talking with them for decades now to renounce this murderous policy. So they pay the price.
Is the American President Donald Trump actually threatening Iran when he says either you sign the deal or there's worse in store? Is Israel that sword arm that's targeting Iran militarily for Iran to sign the deal not to make nuclear weapons?
Well, you know, the Iranians couldn't be convinced to do the right thing. They continued to cheat. The IAEA has mentioned that they were in non-compliance because they breached the safeguards agreement. They had clandestine activities that were occulting, concealing from the international community. So instead of taking President Trump seriously, they exploited and stalled and played for time in order to assemble a nuclear weapon. We got them exposed, and we took action.
Ambassador, explain the choice of targets. Natanz, for example, 250 kilometers south of Tehran. What was the bomb damage assessment that you can share with us?
We don't have information to share at this point, but what I can tell you is that we have actually taken action to take out their military nuclear capability. We have taken action against their missile ballistic program. We have taken action against their leadership, the military leadership, and took action against their air defenses. So all in all, this concerted effort is an effort to neutralize their capability to execute their plan to exterminate the state of Israel.
Ambassador, there are reports 6 nuclear scientists have also been killed in the past 24 hours. In your appreciation, what does this mean for Iran's nuclear program? Is this a setback? Will it set them back by some time, or is this the end of the nuclear program?
Well, it's too soon to say. We are taking action. This is not over. We have mentioned and declared that if Iran retaliates, we will retaliate again. So we are up to several days of action. We don't know how long this will take, but we are determined to neutralize Iran's nuclear program.
Ambassador, Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is threatening Israel with a massive strike back. In your appreciation, what are their capabilities to target Israel, given that you've taken down several of their missile production units, launch systems, their air defense systems, even in October, and some now?
Well, as you know, Gaurav, we never took lightly the threats of the Iranian radical regime, because they have not only declared that they want to exterminate us, they have invested tens of billions of dollars in creating the capabilities to attack us. And therefore, we have actually warned the entire Israeli population to take precaution, to stay near shelters. We are anticipating more barrages of missiles and drones from Iran, and we are determined to defend ourselves from it and retaliate to make sure the Iranian capabilities will be decimated.
Because there is an apprehension that this could escalate into a wider regional conflict. Your appreciation, will other countries join in? Will other countries help Iran?
Well, it is completely in the hands of Iran. At the end of the day, if Iran chooses to target more countries, this will be an escalation that will widen the conflict. The Americans have told them, and they've warned them that they should be very careful not to target American targets, not to target others, and if they do, they will bear the consequences.
What is your assessment after the October strikes? October, you had taken out, Israel had taken out a lot of their air defense systems and their missile production capabilities. Is Iran very vulnerable? The fact that you were able to strike with, if I may, impunity, and that too in places like Shiraz, deep inside, what does that indicate?
It indicates that Iran is acting in a brazen way. I stated in this studio and in other studios in the past that the Iranians have been exposed, because following their activity, their aggression in April and in October, we have hit their air defenses, and we are continuing to hit them. So their attempt to sneak out to a nuclear weapon and to a nuclear arsenal are completely irresponsible, and they are now paying the price for trying to do that.
Can they still make a nuclear bomb in your appreciation?
I don't know. It's too early to say. I don't know. It's too early to say. We are in the midst of this effort. It will take time, but we are going to make sure that we do everything we can to prevent Iran from acquiring nuclear weapons.
There are reports that seem to indicate that Israel targeted Iran from inside Iran. Deep inside Iran, you already had your assets in. Is that true?
What I can confirm at this point is that we have taken an operation with our Air Force in an attack that took 200 of our fighter jets, and this is the information I can confirm at this point.
So 200 fighter jets, missiles, and you're willing to do that again?
Absolutely.
What's the threat of a strike back? The threat of a strike back from Iran, from Houthi rebels, the Houthi forces in Yemen?
We have seen, first of all, an initial retaliation from Iran with a barrage of 100 drones that were fired this morning. Fortunately, we've been able to foil and to eliminate all the drones, but more attacks can come, and we are ready to defend ourselves from those.
Any likelihood of peace talks to find a solution peacefully?
Well, we have tried that for so long, and we would wish that the Iranian people, which we don't have anything against, would send a message to this radical leadership that they have, that has sequestrated their future, that has diverted their richness to develop a military capability that's not only threatening Israel, but the entire region, that they will convince them to change course. Because Jews and Farsis, they have been having a great relationship for 3,000 years. And there is no reason why this awful regime would take that from us. We love peace, we love the Iranian people, we have a long-term relationship with the Iranian people, and we can go back to a peaceful and collaborative relationship.
Can you take out, is it also in your target book to take out Ayatollah Ali Khamenei or the top leadership of
We
Iran?
have been targeting military targets.
Only military and nuclear scientists, so no political leadership?
No.
Ambassador, for joining me here on this India Today special broadcast, many thanks.
Thank you, Gaurav.